Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about long-term food storage. Um, I saw a lot of people asking questions of other people of how do you have a long-term food storage? Where do you start? What do you do? And things like that. So it was like they didn't even know what to do or how to create their their food storage. And some people live and they only buy enough food to last them for a week. And they don't even buy food for longer than that. So, and you can purchase something like you can go on Amazon and they have different places that sell food so that you have enough food that lasts for a long time. You can buy that from other people that create it. Like this one's only $75, but I don't know how long it's going to last because it's just a pail of food. So, how long is that really going to last? But I don't know because that way it's there if it's an emergency. You could do that, or that's supposed to have a shelf life of 10 to 30 years. Or you can start out gradually, or you can do any combination of that. I was taught when I was younger that you could go and look for weekly sell ads. Excuse me. You can try to purchase a case or two of something a week so as not to hurt your budget. And these people, they had like a pantry that they put the food in, and it was an outside pantry. And they would buy, maybe if cereal was on sale, they would buy a case of cereal. Or if pinto beans was on sale, they would buy a case of pinto beans. You just have to make sure it's things that you eat, and they would put it out in their pantry. So that way, and they were poor, but that way they could gradually work up and buy, and they had this pantry full of food. So, if you're not going to eat it or use it, then it's just a waste of money. So, and then some people will, I've seen that some people will take a marker and they'll write the date that they get the can of food from wherever they get it from. And you should write the expiration date on it, large enough to read it with a marker. Not the date you get it, but the date that it's going to expire. Make sure you rotate the food. Put the ones that expire last in the back. And you may think, oh, well, I'm buying this one, so this one's going to expire last. But it's not. You got to read the date because sometimes they don't. If you normally buy groceries for a week, then maybe try to start out by having enough of some items for 2 weeks and then a month and then work up to like 3 months. 3 months is a good short-term goal to try to have food for, and the bills paid. You got to make sure you got enough money to pay the bills for 3 months in case something happens. And to me, I would work on having enough money to pay the bills for 3 months, as well as the groceries, because what happens if you lose your job, you get sick, you get injured, something like that happens, then you need to, not only do you need to be able to eat, but you need to pay the bills. And that was one of the reasons why we started trying to stock up. Or you want to be able to help friends or neighbors with a bag of groceries if they need them as well, if they got sick or injured and they weren't prepared and you are. That's one of the goals for stocking up, is to be able to help someone in need. If you want to stock up for long term, then realize that one of the best ways to do that is to be able to grow your own food. You should have some seeds, even if you grow only a few things. Like maybe you can only grow like some tomatoes and some spices inside your house because you live in an apartment or you live in the city. You're going to also remember that you need water, you need medicine, you need clothing, toiletries, foods, you might need extra socks and underwear. Read the expiration dates when you purchase items, and then make sure that what you're going to use, what you purchase, and maybe you have a favorite kind of tuna fish, but maybe you'd be willing to eat another brand of tuna fish. Look at the expiration dates. If one of them's going to expire 6 months or a year after the other one, you might want to buy that one instead. If you're stocking up on rice and beans, have you ever cooked rice or beans? Do you know how to cook them? If there's an emergency, you might want to practice cooking them now. And I love, like, you got to learn that you can make more than just beans with beans. You can make refried beans and you can make things like that. You can cook rice and beans and mix them together and make something out of it. You can throw in some potatoes and you can throw it on a tortilla and add some salsa and maybe even add some eggs or cheese or something with it and eat it. So that you rotate through and you're using the foods that you're trying to stock up on and you're not just throwing bags of rice and beans on the shelf and never using them. If you're just buying food and you're not organizing it, then you might end up wasting a lot of money. You don't want to just buy food and then you don't ever organize the food. So then there's money just down the drain. Um, so you need to make a list and you need to create a plan. And you can look at the list that other people have created, but you have to realize, is that list going, like if I give you a list of all the foods that we stockpile, and we don't really stock up on a lot of things. I just try to stock up here and there on certain things that we use. But if I give you a list of the things that I'm going to use and eat, you probably would never even eat the food on the list. But you could look at the headings and you can go to the LDA website, the LDS website, and they have a long-term food storage. You could probably even see if what the Quakers do, but they have lists of foods that last 30 or more years. And not only do they tell you the foods that last that long, but they also talk about ways to make the food last that long. So here's the list. You can go to their website to see this. And then you can also go to their website and you can see their packaging recommendations and things like that. So they teach you how to package the food and how to store the foods so that the temperatures, to keep rats out of it, because you don't want rats and ants getting in the food, because otherwise that's just another waste. So then you can find things that you might need and give you ideas on foods that's going to last a long time, like jerky, granola bars, things like that, and then how to store them. And that's another thing. You need to know how to store your food. And so you go to the LDS website and they have all this information there for you to help you, because they do this to help others. And they teach their members to do this to help others. And you can pause this to see this, and you can go on their website and you can see. So they have like great ideas to help you. Because I know a lot of people, they just don't know how to do this. And some people grow up in Baptist churches and it used to be a thing. All the churches that I knew of used to have a thing where they taught you how to, try to get enough food to last at least 3 months. And I think the LDS church recommends that you try to get enough food to last for a year. And you don't want to have everybody, if something happens, you don't want to have everybody hitting the grocery store at once, running out of toilet paper, not being able to buy this for everyone, you know. You want to be able to, that's just not smart. So, and you can go online and find out people are creating bug out bags in case they live in the city and they have to go somewhere else and bug out. That's what they call it, bug out bags. And then somebody created the LDS preparedness manual, but it's not from the church, it says. I think it's from a member. And you can find that in PDF format on the internet so that you can read what they have. So then it talks about the different things that they have. And see, look at the headings, and that will help you decide what you want to purchase for yourself. So, and I would start out for 3 months and then work towards having a year's supply of food. But you got to make sure if you're getting a year's supply of food that it's not food you're going to waste. Have those expiration dates, be able to be organized, be able to go through it, be able to donate it to other people a month before it's going to expire to make sure that somebody gets to eat it, or 2 months before it's going to expire. And I think that one of the best ways to have long-term food storage is to have chickens for eggs. Chickens lay eggs naturally without a rooster. And please forgive me, and I know people aren't going to like me saying this, but chickens lay eggs. To them, to me, it reminds me of like a woman having a period. They automatically lay the eggs. The eggs are there. They're not fertilized. They're not baby chickens. No, it's not a baby chicken. Unless you have a rooster with the hens near the hens to make the eggs fertile, the eggs are never going to hatch. So, and if you have ducks, you can have duck eggs. I've heard that if you want to have animals for meat, you can have the chickens, some chickens, and you can have a rooster with it so that there's certain chickens for using for meat. You can have rabbits. Rabbits is supposed to be a great way to have food for animals for meat. If you know how to hunt, fish, clean, and cut up an animal to put it in your freezer, that's very useful information. Knowing how to pressure can, having a pressure can. So you can, if you have a garden and you're growing foods and you're like, what am I going to do with the extra food? You pressure can it. That way you make your own spaghetti sauce, your own salsa, things like that. You can pressure can your food. Dehydrating food is useful as well. I knew these two ladies and they had chickens in their yard to have eggs. They pressure canned. They dehydrated their food. They had food in the freezer. They would have soup every day and they would use it from the things that they had pressure canned and dehydrated. They would buy meat on sale at certain times of the year when it was on sale and they would pressure can their own meat so that you can buy canned meat. But if you know how to pressure can, you can do that yourself, and you know how to dehydrate, you can do that. And that they used it, they didn't waste it. You can buy grains like wheat, rice, corn, oats, cereal, popcorn, beans, and you need to know how to cook the beans. And some beans that take a lot of water to cook. Some people would prefer to buy canned beans, but dry beans are going. If you know how to cook them, you can soak them overnight. You can read the bag, or you can bring them to a boil. Read it and see how long it says to boil. But I think you bring it to a boil, you cover, put the lid on it, take it off the heat and let it sit for an hour, something like that. And I was taught to put onions in the beans because, and you have to drain them. You don't have to, but if I don't drain them, it upsets my stomach. So I have to let them soak. And I know it's got all that nutrition in it. And you have to realize that when you're draining it, you're losing all that nutrition. But it upsets my stomach if I don't. So I do. I slice an onion, I put it in there. An onion's something that helps thicken things. So cooking oils, butter, lard, honey, they say sugar, salt. And you got to make sure the rats and the ants and mice and things and critters aren't going to get into your food, that you have things that are seal it well, because we've tried to buy things like snacks for my husband ahead of time and put them in Ziploc bags and then put them in containers. And then they might go bad before he gets to use them, especially if we're buying them months in advance and putting them in Ziploc bags, thinking, oh, the Ziploc bags are going to keep them from going bad. But no, they don't, because they're not made like they used to be made, I guess. I don't know, but they go bad quicker. So you have to make sure you know how to, create an airtight seal and things like that to be able to do it. So I was taking dried dehydrated potatoes and putting them in Ziploc bags, and I didn't know the Ziploc bags didn't seal like they used to. So, and juices, you have to decide what kind of beverages and drinks and juices that you want, what kind of canned or dried veggies you'll eat. Spices, you want bouillon cubes, you can make soup out of that. Your sweeteners, herbal teas. Potatoes are something that's easy to grow, but they don't grow. It don't end up growing a lot of them. Like it shows, all these people say, "Oh, I'm growing potatoes, and I get so many potatoes," but you really don't get that many potatoes that you're going to expect out of them. But it's something that you can have potatoes on hand, and then you can grow your own potatoes. So and potatoes provide a lot more nutrition. If you don't know that, you need to look it up online. Some people think they're bad for you and they're just as starch, but you would not believe how much nutrition is in a potato. And if you get like a spider bite or something like that, I used to slice a potato and put it on my spider bite and tape it on there to suck the poison out and get it to go in the potato, and I'd leave it on there for a couple of days. And I remember even poking holes with a needle in the spider bite and adding gold and stone colloidal silver and just leaving the potato on there till the potato turned black instead of my leg turning black, and then changing the potato every now and then. Peanut butter, crackers, pumpkin seeds, Brazil nuts, chocolate chips, Tang, beef jerky. You're supposed to have 2 chickens per person per eggs, they used to recommend. I don't know if they still do, but back in the day, that's what they recommended. Goats for milk, pop-top canned foods such as ravioli, because we lived in our van for a while, and we didn't have electric or plumbing for 2 years. So we ate things like pop-top cans like ravioli, pineapple in its own juice. We carried apples around with us. You're going to want to have spices like bouillon cubes and dehydrated food, apples, oatmeal, brown sugar, protein bars, oil, lard, ghee if you learn how to make ghee, cereal. If you drink coffee and tea, I think herbal tea is so important. Gatorade. You could get instant powder Gatorade, instant potatoes if you use them. You could put that in soups to thicken them if you don't normally eat instant potatoes. Lentils, I think, are just as good, if not better, than beans because they cook quicker. You don't have to soak them. You can rinse them and cook them, and then you have lentils. And I love lentils. And you could put them in your soups if you're not used to using them. Packets of mayo, ketchup, mustard that you get extra on the delis, you can use those for a while and to help you save money. Cocoa powder, stuff to make no-bake cookies, apple cider vinegar, baking powder or baking soda to make bread. That and another thing, like they say that you can use baking soda and make a paste and put it on molds to get rid of them, but it takes like I don't know 40 or 60 days. Some people say you should stock up on vodka. I'm not sure what you use it for, but you might want to look into that. Canned beans, canned chili, pancake mix, syrup. If you can't afford to stock up on things that you can consider so that you'll have more money to stock up, eating less expensive food for a while so you can afford to stock up. Like you start eating grilled cheese once a week, maybe quesadillas for dinner, for lunch, eggs. Well, they used to be an inexpensive way to eat, but lately they're going up. You can eat fried eggs with toast. You can have French toast, omelets, egg salad, potato salad with eggs in it. And there's a lot of nutrition in that because you got the nutrition from the potatoes, and you really want to look it up if you don't know all the different nutrients that are in potatoes because potatoes have so much nutrition that it's unreal. Potato salad, coleslaw, eating beans, rice, maybe with tortillas, things like that will help you have more money. If you're eating out, then you still want to eat out and enjoy life, but maybe you want to change your eating out list to save money and eat cheaper food. Maybe you want to go to hospitals and see if they have less expensive food with more nutrition, or maybe you just want to go and have coffee from McDonald's with a sausage McGriddle or a sausage biscuit or things like eat out. Try to eat out places that are less expensive because that way you can stock up on food to last you for a month or 3 months or a year, whatever. Do you have a freezer full of food, but you've not seen what's at the bottom of it in years and you don't even know if the food is still good there? Well, that's not good. That's not going to help you, is it? Because then you think, oh, I got all this food that's still good, it's going to last, but you haven't even been to the bottom of the freezer in years. You don't even know if that food's still good. So you might want to do something about that. One of the things that I did when we tried to stock up for a few months is we made our own laundry soap. We made dried laundry soap. And we used bar soap and we got washing soda and things like that. And we put the bar soap in one of those food processor things we got so it would grate it. And the laundry soap lasts us like a year. We didn't realize that making our own laundry soap would last us for like a year. So then we didn't have to buy laundry soap for a year. And that really helped us because, it's that much less money. Knowing how to make jerky, hunt, dehydrate food, garden, start a fire, make a splint, herbal remedies and things like that will come in handy. So if you're creating a list, put that on your list because you're going to want to know how to do that. A kerosene heater for the winter, and buy some gallon kerosene when the winter ends. At the end of winter, when they're marking it down, buy some kerosene. Make sure you have a jug to put kerosene in. A wood burning stove would be even better. You can even get small portable camping backpack stoves. A piece of plastic or tarp is really important because if you're out there and it's winter and it's cold, might want to be able to wrap up in plastic even though you're cuddled up. Don't make it so you can't breathe, but so that you stay warm. Cardboard as well. Cast iron pans, fire starting kits, sewing kits, medical supplies, shampoo, conditioner, hairbrush, comb. Braid your hair. You're going to have to be able to braid your hair if you can't shower as much. If you're traveling or living in your vehicle, things like braiding your hair is going to be important. Socks, athlete's foot powder, warm clothes. If you're going into a place that you got to be able to lay your clothes on in some places if it's cold. If you're not used to being cold, you may not realize that you have to put layers of clothes on in the winter. Maybe a poncho with a hoodie, wool blankets. And that's another thing. If you've never been without heat or electric in the winter, hanging plastic on the ceiling, on the floor, on the walls, and putting wool blankets up and stapling them to the walls with a staple gun, and you'll need a staple gun and staples to put over the tops of these things, will help you stay warm, even if you're using a kerosene heater. Water filters. You're going to need water filters. You can learn how to make your own water filters if you can't afford to buy them, but you probably have to buy them because it takes some knowledge and some research to know how to make them. Something to create a fire with. You can, even when you brush your hair, you can use your hair to help you get a fire started. An extension cord, a plug-in heater, a plug-in fan, solar panel things, shovel, buckets with a toilet seat lid. You can take a 5-gallon bucket and set a toilet seat lid on it um, to use it. And even though it's wobbly and it doesn't seem like it's going to work, you set it there. It's so much more comfortable than sitting on just a 5-gallon bucket. And you can use plastic bags for the bucket. You're going to need an axe or a hatchet. Of course, toilet paper, a good knife, easy to clean and pack away dishes, can openers. Know how to open a can without a can opener. Seeds. Know what grows the fastest. Know what grows under certain conditions. There are certain foods that you can grow and you can just trim and eat them and trim and eat them. Loose leaf lettuce, things like that. And what grows in which weather. You might need to know how to make bread. And they have bread that you can make without yeast. There's so many different types of bread that you can make without yeast. You might want to make a list. Soda bread, things like that. Practice, learn how to do it, because what if you need to know how to make bread? You might need to know how to make simple pasta. They have simple pasta where you can just make it like they have German pasta and just drop it in the water. You're going to need rags. If you have holes in your clothes, you're going to need know that you should cut them up and make rags out of them instead of just throw them away. Diaper wipes. Diaper wipes are so important if you don't have running water and all of a sudden you have to live without water or electric and you're traveling, you have to live in your vehicle, because you can use those diaper wipes and things like that to wash your face with, wash your hands with, things like that. You never realize how important those are till something like that happens. Plastic food storage containers. You're going to need a rope. You're going to need a gardening book, nutritional book, survival books, because if you don't have internet, you're going to need that in book form. Vitamins, toothpaste, psyllium. You're going to need psyllium if you can get psyllium, because psyllium helps if you're constipated or you have the runs or whatever. Psyllium is so important. Honey, gasoline. Whoops, I got to sneeze. Maybe. Excuse me. Um, we adopted a dog a year ago, and I'm allergic to critters, and it was running. Somebody dropped it off. So you have to be aware of motels with COVID. So if you stay in motels, you have to realize that they may not wash the main the bedspread and things like that. And if you're in a hurricane or a tornado and you have to go stay in a motel, you could end up getting COVID. That's how we got COVID. So you have to learn where you can take a shower and places that you can take a shower. Um, they have these foot pedal washing machines that you can just pedal with your foot that don't even need electricity. Clips. You're going to need clips like for hanging your clothes or if you got to hang a tarp on something and sleep under a tarp or whatever. And they say that tents are waterproof and then you find out that tents, then all of a sudden, because we were sleeping in a tent when we bought our land for a while and the tent was supposed to be waterproof, and then it started raining, and the tent was not waterproof. So you're going to need lots of clips, tape, maybe a hobby or craft even, such as beading jewelry, so you have something to do. Book, and you might can trade the jewelry for things. Book on safe wild foods to eat. You need to know what foods you can eat and what you can't, especially if you're in the city and you've never been there. They have these hand grinder bowls where you can grind things with your hand into the hard bowls. You might need some of those. Things to sell in case you need cash in a hurry, or things to trade. Dish soap. You can use dish soap, like Dawn dish soap, for laundry soap if you have to. You can use bar soap and grate it up and use it for laundry soap if you need to. And if you have to, you can wash your hair in a pinch using laundry soap and even use a little tiny bit of fabric softener for conditioner if you have to and water it down so you can be able to brush your hair. You might need some sort of mattress, a van. If you have a van, you can throw a mattress in there, a sleeping bag, whatever. Skin So Soft. Did you know that you might need Skin So Soft to keep the mosquitoes off? Portable handheld Bite It. You can buy those for camping. Water jug. If you have a food stamp card, you might need to know where the local soup kitchens are. Some places like where we live, they have outside food pantries, so you don't have to show your ID to get food. You just go to the outside food pantries. They're little cabinets that they have at all the churches and the schools and things like that. Well, I don't know all of them, but you can go there and you can donate the food you're not going to use. And if they don't have them where you live, I would suggest you start trying to get people to put them up because you can donate food that you don't eat. If you're stocking up on foods and you have all these foods and they're going to expire in a month or two and you're not going to eat them because, we bought pineapple and canned pineapple in its own juice thinking we would eat this even though we don't normally eat it. We don't eat it. We still don't eat it. So we end up donating it. And you think, oh, well, I can work this into my food, but nobody really eats some of these things. So, in my family, nobody likes beans. I love beans, but nobody likes beans. So, sometimes they'll eat them, but they don't like them. So, you're keeping things like that. If you're keeping things you're not going to eat, so here's some of the nutrition in potatoes. They have 5 grams of protein in a potato. They have fiber, sodium, vitamin C, vitamin B6. There's all kinds of vitamins in potatoes. Potassium, vitamin C. So they have so many health benefits, and people don't realize that potatoes are full of all these health benefits. So they used to have a thing where you were supposed to eat an egg every day and a potato every day. It used to be on one of the old food charts. I think it was from like the 40s, and you can't find it now, but you can't even find it on the internet. It is so hard to find, but it used to be a thing where you were supposed to eat a potato every day, whether it was a regular potato or a sweet potato, and an egg every day. So, Spam. You can buy canned meat. You don't have to can your own meat. If you don't have a pressure canner, just make sure you take a black marker and write on it, like on the white and the top, but I would write it so you can see it, the expiration dates of these things. And some of them you think it's going to last forever, but my son was looking and he's like, wow, this tuna fish expired. And I thought, well, it's still good. And he opened it and he's like, wow, it was really like yucky and gross. So He didn't think it was edible. So I don't know. I think that the Pop Top cans, I don't think they last as long. And you'll see the Pop Top cans along the edges. They're starting to get funny colors and things like that, and it looks gross. And so a lot of times we get Pop Top cans, and before it even expires, we're trying to donate it because. But it's really good if you don't have a can opener and you're traveling in your car. Pop top cans are so much easier. So, and then you're thinking, oh, I need grains. Well, what kind of grains do I get? And they say wheat lasts longer, but you're not used to eating wheat and you don't like wheat. So you might want to try rice and oats and things like that. Make sure it's things that you're going to eat. Cereal is a grain. So if you're buying cereal, grits, tortillas, things like that, these are grains. These are all grains. So if you're not going to use the flour and you don't know how to make bread, I don't know. I would suggest you learn how to make something you like out of it. So, and practice. The first time you try to make something like tortillas, it's not going to turn out that great. But, you can keep practicing and maybe it will turn out good. And there's all kinds of, if you look, different people from different countries make different types of bread. They have Indian fry bread. Um, and even though naan bread, you could try making naan bread. So there's all kinds of different. And I like the soda bread where you don't use yeast, but you bake and you have soda bread. So you can, and my grandmother used to swear by bread that had potatoes in it. So you make bread with potatoes in the bread when you made it. You would use, I don't know if she used instant potatoes or what, but it was such a great way. You want to learn how to make what potatoes are going to taste good. And some people swear like by Boston brown bread. And apple cider vinegar, if your stomach's upset and things like that, you're going to might want to have something like apple cider vinegar. And you're going to end up forgetting something. But go to different lists and see what lists other people have created. And then see what you're going to use. And realize that popcorn is another grain like cereal and oatmeal and things like that. But apple cider vinegar, if you don't want to take it straight, but if you put like a half a capful or a capful in like 8 ounces of water and sip on it sometimes when you have eaten something bad and you're having stomach problems, sometimes you can do that instead of taking like Imodium or something, and it might help you. Um, Razors, toothpaste, and acids, things like that. We like peanut butter and applesauce, raviolis. My husband likes top ramen. So that when we go to try to stock up and buy things that are going to last a long time, we might buy something that we don't. Like, I started eating peanut butter and crackers and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And my husband, he doesn't like peanut butter. But he likes ramen, and he might take an egg with him and add egg into his ramen because he likes it. So then I was buying ramen thinking, oh, we could stockpile some ramen even though we may not eat it. But then I found out that other people around the house enjoy ramen, and even I like ramen. I might take a package of ramen and cook it and add like cook some frozen wontons and some frozen meatballs and throw that in my ramen and add an egg, and then I might eat half the ramen for breakfast and then half of it for lunch because that's just how I do it. That's how much I eat. So, and then I usually have some left over when my husband gets home and he's like eating some of it because even though I use one package of ramen and 3 or 4 of those frozen wontons that I fried and added to it and some meatballs, I don't eat that much sometimes. But if you're going to stock up on food, there are ways that you can do it. And I know people say they can't afford it, but some people don't know how to do it. So gradually do it. That's what I go. We have our Friday sale or our Wednesday sale. Usually on Wednesday we have sale ads that come out and we can see what's going to be on sale at the grocery store on Friday. And we don't eat that much meat anymore. We used to, once upon a time we were eating meat every day, and now we don't eat meat every day. And so, and if cakes are on sale, sometimes I can get cakes 12 for $10. So then I'll buy the cakes, and then I have to write the expiration date and put them on there, and I may not even add frosting to them. I might just make a cake with no frosting, and we might just eat cake with butter on it just to have a dessert. So, it's just, and I was looking at it thinking, well, I'd rather have frosting, but frosting's gone up. It's expensive, and I'm really trying to get more and more on a budget. And as you try to get on a budget, you might find that I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I love tuna fish and crackers. We both enjoy eating top ramen. We didn't even know that. We like things like oatmeal, and we weren't eating oatmeal for breakfast before, and we're like, oh, it seems like a hassle, but it's so easy, and we actually enjoy it. So, you have to find what you like and what you're going to eat and create your own list. I mean, sure, you can go and look at the lists that other people have, but make sure that these foods are foods that you're going to eat and that you're going to enjoy. What kind of foods do you like? And then start creating your lists of what you want. And, like I said, you might want to start short term, and but I would make sure you're going to eat it. That's the most important thing. And if you're pressure canning food, then yes, you want to write the date on it that you pressure canned it. If you're freezing food and cooking it, you're going to want to write the date on it that you're putting it in the freezer. But for other things that are on the shelf, you want to write, and if you're bagging up, if you're taking I saw somebody the other day, and they were taking things and they were putting them in Ziploc bags, and they were writing the date that they put them in the Ziploc bag. But the Ziploc bags, they don't keep as well as you think they do, because like I said, I bought my husband all these snacks for work. I got all these snacks. I went and spent like $100 on snacks at Walmart, thinking that I'll create a video on how to get snacks and have the snacks last for your kids and your families, and put them in Ziploc bags. But you put them in the Ziploc bags, and poof, they're expired already. They're not good anymore. And I didn't know that. So then I see all these other people, and they've never stocked up, and they're putting the stuff in the Ziploc bags, and they're the Ziploc bags like I buy, the inexpensive ones, not the ones where you suck the air out of it, and like you get in the machine where they keep it longer, because you can get those machines where you can take the air out of the food, and then they'll last longer. Whereas you get a sandwich bag and things like that, that's not going to work. That's not the same thing. And they go bad so much faster that way. So, because it's not sealed properly. And people don't know that. But, if you've never done this before, how are you going to know? And I thought, oh, sandwich bags would be wonderful, but they're not made like they used to. And some of them have, I don't know if they have little holes, or if it's the top of them, you think it's sealing up so good. But they say that you can suck the air out using a straw or a vacuum hose or something, and then seal it up and see if it seals. But I don't know. We didn't do that. We just thought, oh, I just put them in a sandwich bag and push all the air out, and it'll work fine. But some of them don't work that well. And you don't, so you need to know that. So I wouldn't even open the bag of them till I started using them, now that I know, instead of just trying to put them in Ziploc bags, because the bag that they're in inside that box is probably better. So that's just some ideas, and this is just an introductory video for people who don't know how to do food storage. But like I said, feel free to look at other people's videos, look up other people's lists and the things that they need. And you can buy powdered milk, it's gone up. It used to be so inexpensive, but you can use that, I guess, for baking bread. I don't like the taste of it in cereal. I can't even imagine. But you can buy dehydrated cheese like they put in those au gratin potato mixes and things like that. So I don't know. That's just some ideas for you, and I hope that helps. And like, you need to decide if you want to have canned fruits in their own juice. Make sure you're going to eat them. Don't just do like we did and buy cans of pineapple and then buy a whole bunch of cans and then never eat it, never drink the juice, and never bake the upside down cakes with them or anything. That's my husband's like, wow, you're going to donate a whole case of peas? Well, we never ate the peas. Even though we like peas, I don't know, we just aren't used to eating certain things. So, but I would rather donate them than throw them away. So, and like I said, we have food pantries here and we can put foods in there. And usually everybody puts the foods in there after they're expired. Oh, they've been expired for a year, I'm going to put it in there. And I don't think that's good. I think you should do it before they expire, right? So you can see ideas on the internet. But I hope this video helps you, and I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to repeat myself and starting to ramble, and I don't want to do that. So, oh, it's salt. Make sure you have salt with iodine because iodine is important for your health. And pepper. I have lots of spices. I have these curry spices that you get from Big Lots that doesn't have actual curry powder in it, but it's great for making curries and it's a mixture of spices and it's so good, and rice and beans food. So things like that you might want to consider. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Have a great day. Love you. Bye-bye.